Blake Lively is now reportedly moving to withdraw her claims that director and co-star Justin Baldoni inflicted emotional distress, both intentionally and negligently, on her during the filming of It Ends With Us. This reversal marks a striking shift in a legal battle that has already drawn intense public attention, partly due to the high-profile figures involved and partly because of the deeply sensitive nature of the allegations. Sources close to the case indicate that Lively's legal team may be retreating in response to Baldoni's legal maneuvering, specifically a push to gain access to her medical records. These include therapy notes, psychiatric evaluations, and other private health documents, which his attorneys argue are essential to their defense. The request was made under standard discovery proceedings, but the implications are anything but routine. For Lively, releasing those records would mean exposing deeply personal aspects of her mental and emotional health, a step that could have long-term ramifications, both personally and professionally. Justin Baldoni, known not only for his work in film but also for his advocacy around masculinity and emotional openness, has fiercely denied the allegations. Through his legal representation, Baldoni has asserted that the claims of sexual harassment and emotional abuse are not only baseless but part of a coordinated attempt by Lively and her husband, actor Ryan Reynolds, to tarnish his career and reputation. He has maintained that the production environment of It Ends With Us was professional and collaborative, though tensions reportedly began surfacing during post-production. Lively's original lawsuit claimed that Baldoni engaged in a pattern of manipulative, demeaning, and sexually inappropriate behavior throughout the shoot. Specifics have been withheld under a sealed motion, but insiders suggest that the accusations include invasive comments, unconsented physical proximity, and coercive language during rehearsals. Her team originally pursued legal action in part to set a precedent, arguing that too many women in Hollywood are expected to endure inappropriate conduct under the guise of creative direction. What began as a workplace dispute has now escalated into a multi-layered legal saga, with countersuits, subpoenas, and multiple attorneys representing various interests. Baldoni's countersuit not only denies the allegations but alleges defamation and intentional infliction of emotional distress, on his part. His legal filing accuses Lively and Reynolds of orchestrating a campaign to damage his standing in the industry, citing anonymous leaks to the press and alleged behind-the-scenes lobbying to get him removed from future projects. The case has attracted considerable media scrutiny, not least because it touches on so many of the issues that continue to roil the entertainment industry in the post-#MeToo era. Consent, power dynamics, emotional abuse, and the weaponization of public opinion, all are central to the unfolding drama. The fact that it involves Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, two of Hollywood's most visible and seemingly stable celebrities, has only intensified public interest. Monday brought yet another twist. Lawyers for Baldoni's production company, Wayfarer Studios, filed a motion to compel Lively to sign a HIPAA release form. The release would authorize them to review her confidential medical records, which they argue are directly relevant to her claims of psychological harm. Without access to these documents, Baldoni's team insists they cannot adequately defend against the accusations. Lively's legal counsel has so far resisted, calling the request invasive and unnecessary, but the latest development suggests she may be stepping back to protect her privacy. Insiders say the motion caught Lively's camp off guard. Although discovery can include sensitive documents, many in her circle believed medical privacy would remain off limits unless she explicitly introduced those records as evidence. Baldoni's legal argument, however, hinges on the idea that once mental health becomes central to a legal claim, related records become fair game. This is not a novel interpretation, but in a high-profile case, the optics are especially fraught. Reynolds has not commented publicly, but sources say he has been actively supportive of his wife behind the scenes and remains skeptical of Baldoni's motives. Privately, he's believed to be furious over what he sees as an attempt to dig into Lively's past under the guise of legal necessity. At the same time, others in the industry are urging caution, suggesting that until all the facts are known, it's premature to draw conclusions. While many of the court documents remain sealed, journalists have pieced together a picture from leaks, insider interviews, and social media clues. For instance, production crew members have offered conflicting accounts, some backing Lively's characterization of the shoot as emotionally turbulent, others insisting that Baldoni maintained professional boundaries. The director, for his part, has claimed that any intense scenes were conducted with full consent and creative collaboration. What happens next remains unclear. Lively's motion to withdraw her distress claims could lead to a narrowing of the case or signal a broader settlement negotiation. Legal analysts suggest that withdrawing the emotional distress component might make it harder to press for damages, but it could also be a strategic play to refocus the case on the core allegations of harassment, which carry their own weight under California law. For Baldoni, this partial legal victory, if it can be called that, may bolster his narrative that the case is less about justice and more about reputational damage. Yet the broader context is still murky. Hollywood insiders say the entire situation is a reminder that even projects that begin with good intentions can devolve into deeply personal conflicts once trust breaks down. Lively has not issued a public statement since reports of her intent to withdraw emerged, but close friends say she remains resolute in protecting her mental health and family. Those around her insist she still believes in accountability but is no longer willing to sacrifice her privacy to get it. Whether that means dropping the lawsuit entirely remains to be seen. The story of It Ends With Us, a film already carrying emotional weight due to its subject matter, is now overshadowed by off-screen turmoil. What was supposed to be a landmark adaptation of Colleen Hoover's best-selling novel has become a case study in the complexity of navigating interpersonal conflict in the public eye. As legal proceedings continue, both sides are preparing for a prolonged battle. Discovery may yet uncover details neither party wants publicized. Confidential mediation remains a possibility, though tensions are reportedly high, and trust between the camps is minimal. Meanwhile, the public is left watching two narratives unfold, one in the courtroom and another in the court of opinion. Lively's fans see a woman standing up for herself and drawing a line to preserve her well-being. Baldoni's supporters argue that he's being unfairly villainized without due process. Both perspectives speak to the broader cultural reckoning with power, celebrity, and justice. No matter how this ends, it's clear that the fallout will extend far beyond one film. Hollywood may continue producing stories about trauma and redemption, but in real life, those stories are rarely so neatly resolved.